The college basketball experience, Wake Forest Demon Deacons 2022-23 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, presented by WinBet. Bet $100 at WinBet and get $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today.
This is Martin Cleese, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college basketball experience. Wake Forest Demon Deacons 2022-23 season preview episode. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dad, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink, and I don't have stress, and I'm healthy.
Oh, we get to talk a little Wake Forest action. Subscribe to the college football experience. I'm sorry, the college basketball and the college football experience. Look, Wake Forest college football is doing it. Sam Hartman's doing it over there. Subscribe to the college football experience and then hear the college basketball experience. We come together as one on YouTube at youtube.com/the college experience. Subscribe, tell a friend. And here we are. I'm very excited to talk a little Demon Deacons basketball because I think they got something brewing there.
It's easy to see a tide turn
when they hired Steve Forbes. We're going to talk more about that in a second, but yes, subscribe to all of those. And folks, this is the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Can Steve Forbes get them back? I think that's the question for 2022-23. Last year was a good start. Schedule's got to be a little stronger this year, but this is a rich program. Back to the days of Muggsy Bogues, Rodney Rogers. You could go, obviously Randolph Childress, Tim Duncan, Chris Paul. That whole era was absolutely fantastic. But I think that is the big time question when it comes to Wake Forest and Wake Forest basketball for the future is, can they get back to where they used to be? And I think Steve Forbes is going to be that guy to ignite this program. I really do. You look at what they've done historically. It's been some tough days in Winston-Salem there. They've only made the NCAA tournament once, and that was in the first 4 play-in games under Danny Manning back in 2016 and 17. They've only made it the tournament once since 2009. Whew. What's that? A solid 12 years of basketball, 13 years of basketball with one NCAA tournament appearance, and that was only the first 4. Even with that, this program was really rolling under Dave Odom and Skip Prosser. Rest in peace. Because at one point from 90 to 91, they had gone, first off, 7 NCAA tournament appearances in a row in that stretch. And then 7, 9, 11, 12 in 15 years, 12 tournament appearances in 15 years. Can they get back to that? Because it's been a while. So man, at 12 out of those 15 years, they only had, wait, am I saying this correctly? They didn't have a losing season. No, one losing season. No. So in 15 years, they didn't have a losing season. That is what they need to get back to. The years they didn't make the tournament, the 3 years they didn't, they were 16-14, 17-14, and 22-14 under Dave Odom. You might know his son, Ryan Odom, former UMBC coach, now coaches at Utah State in Logan. And I think that's the big question is, can they get back to what they were when they were rolling? I loved watching those Randolph Childress teams, honestly. some of my favorite memories of watching college basketball was Randolph Childress lighting up, Duke and the whole ACC really. Obviously the Chris Paul teams were a lot of fun too. And I'd love to see him get back to it. Steve Forbes though, let's talk about Steve Forbes for a second. Cause I do think they got themselves a great coach. They were kind of, no disrespect to Danny Manning, but I just didn't think he was the right guy for the job. I think Forbes is. I just think they got to be patient. They learned a valuable lesson last year, but Forbes, 31-26 in 2 years. I think we give him a pass on that. You say that record, it's just 5 games over 500. You got to remember his first year was the to me learning curve there and COVID season also. So you look at what happened that first year and you could say, okay, well, I get it. He was 6-16 and just 3-15 in the conference. That's not going to cut it. And he'll tell you that. Last year, 13-7 in conference. And that's what I'm talking about. You saw a gigantic jump, 25-10 overall. You could argue they should have been in the NCAA tournament. A lot of people will argue that, especially if you're a Wake Forest fan. But I think the problem at the end of the day was the schedule was too light. Have they learned about that? That you got to schedule more aggressively. You can even afford to be like you could be 20-15, 19-16. But if you schedule more aggressively, that might be able to get you in. We've seen it time and time again over the years. But either way, I think it's a great step from 6-16 to 25-10. That was the most regular season games they've won, believe it or not, since 2004 under Skip Prosser when they went 27-6. So should tell you something right there about the direction of this program, whether the schedule was soft or not, doesn't matter. They still had to play in the ACC, and we saw what the ACC did in the NCAA tournament. And folks, if you are listening to this and you are a fan of another ACC team, know that we have a bunch of episodes in the vault previewing all these teams. So go check that out on the College Basketball Experience. Let's hop into it though. But before we hop into it, I do want to tell you that the College Basketball Experience is brought to you by WinBet. Bet $100 at WinBet and get $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by the Elias Sports Bureau. Yes, football fans, the NFL season's back. And as week 2 goes to kick off, you got to get ready to place your bets and lock in your fantasy team. And let me tell you what will help you is if you get the Elias Game Plan app. Yes, the ultimate sports betting and fantasy companion for the NFL, NBA, MLB. It has everything you need to get a competitive advantage. It really does. And the Elias Game Plan is the only sports app from the most trusted name in sports stats. Yes, the Elias Sports Bureau, official statisticians of U.S. pro sports leagues, including the National Football League. And the app gives you everything: access to team and player stats, head-to-head comparisons, Elias key game insights from their research team, and it goes on and on and on. I mean, expert game analysis for betting, help with your fantasy football lineups. NFL season is here, so do not wait. Download the Elias Game Plan app today. That's ELIAS. And right now we have a special offer. Get a free $14 or 14-day. Get a free 14-day trial off a monthly subscription plan, but only if you use the promo code SGPN. Find the Elias Game Plan app in the App Store or Google Play Store today and use that promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Fubo TV. Yes, if you watch football, you need Fubo TV. Fubo TV gives you complete coverage of college and pro football with NFL Red Zone plus games in 4K at no extra charge. They have over 100 channels of live sports and entertainment for a fraction of the price of cable. You can watch it on all your devices. You can never miss a game or an episode of your favorite TV show with included cloud-based DVR. Plus, there's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time. Right now, you can try Fubo TV for free for 7 days and get 15% off your first month. Just go to FuboTV.com/SGP. That's FUBO.TV.com/SGP. All right, we're back talking Wake Forest Demon Deacons basketball. And you look back at last season, like I said, 25-10, 13-7 in the ACC. You would think most years that'd be able to get you over. And I will say this, based on the way the ACC shelled out in the NCAA tournament, obviously great run from Miami and North Carolina, and a few other schools, Duke, obviously. I do think we should probably reassess and say, hey, Wake probably should have got in based on knowing that. But at the time we couldn't have known all that. The ACC didn't have a great regular season. It is what it is. I think Steve Forbes learned a valuable lesson that they have to schedule a little more aggressively, and then they can rely on conference play to get them where they need to go. ATS, this was a very good team, 21-14 ATS, hitting at 60%. So we love them here on the College Basketball Experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And if you dive into the analytics of what this team was a season ago, adjusted offense, they were 41st in the nation. And that's one thing that stands out to me is consistency on both ends of the court. 41st in the nation in adjusted offense, and adjusted defense 42nd in the nation. So that right there, absolutely outstanding. 3-point rank, they were 119th, so one of the better 3-point shooting teams in the country. By definition, not like your tops, but I'm saying still in the better half. This is something I think they want to get better at, is offensive rebounding. They were 223rd a season ago. Defensive rebounding though 93rd, so a top 100 team when it came to defensive rebounding. And I'm curious how that will stand this year after losing a couple key guys. They were a decent free throw shooting team, 134th in the nation. So you kind of happy with what you see there. Pace, they were 30th in the nation. So Forbes believes in pushing that ball and getting the maximum amount of opportunities. And then turnover rate though, and I think this is probably going to be a point of emphasis this offseason, despite all the roster turnover, which we'll get to in a second, but they're 241st in the nation of turning over the ball last season. So are taking care of the basketball. That's not great. And as we know, 358 teams. So they got to improve there. I think that's something that I'm not sure. We'll see if they can get it done this year. Like I said, they're going to lose. They lost some pieces in the off season, and they it's 2022. So the transfer portal, they had to get creative on what they could do and bring in Winston-Salem. So obviously the big news when we break down this roster, Alondes Williams is on the Brooklyn Nets. If you guys had a chance to watch Alondes Williams with the Oklahoma transfer a season ago, he was awesome. It was one of my favorite players to watch in the ACC. He averaged 19 points and 6 boards a season ago. He's gone. Brooklyn Nets. And this is probably proof that this team should have been in the tournament. They should have scheduled more aggressively, because him and Jake Laravia, they're forward from a season ago, who averaged 15.7 boards. He's on the Memphis Grizzlies. So 2 guys off in the NBA. That should tell you enough right there. And then when you add in the other players, Dallas Walton, the 10 points, 5 boards, the 7-footer. And I think this is one, when we talk about defensive rebounding, that could be big for them. Dallas Walton was a Colorado transfer, only 1 year in Winston-Salem. Played good ball. Remember, had that game winner at Tulsa, that like 70-footer. And then they had Isaiah Mucius, who was a 6'8" forward who got 10 points, 3 boards. He's gone, graduated as well. And 6'10" Khadim Sy is gone, who averaged 6 points and 5 boards. So those are some big losses. Also lost Carter Witt to Furman, the Paladins. Can they replace those? Obviously, I mean, Alondes Williams and Laravia were 2 absolute studs, but then your front court, your rebounding. I mean, shit, that's 13 rebounds a game. Just from, and then when you add Laravia, you're talking about altogether, because even Williams was a great rebounding guard. Altogether, you're thinking of that's 26 rebounds a game lost, and also 4 guys that average in double digits. Fucking brutal. That's brutal to replace in 1 year. So we will see if Wake Forest will be up to the task in 2022-23, and if they'll be able to respond fast, really fast, because It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see because losing that much production, you have to sit there and say, I don't know. You know, I got to worry about the schedule. If they are going to be scheduling more aggressively, which I think it is going to be more aggressive. I have the schedule here. We'll get to that in a minute, but we're going to talk about the incoming trend. They were very active in the offseason because they had to be, and that's really what they think they learned from the year before, bringing in Walton, bringing in Williams, and some of those guys. Some huge gets that made that team so successful. It's 2022. This is the footprint of college athletics. So get used to it, people. But before we talk about the incoming roster, I do have to get us paid one more time. We got a lot of sponsors right now. It's football season, so bear with us as we rattle off and get ourselves paid. I want to tell you that the college basketball experience is brought to you by No House Advantage. Yes. No House Advantage is changing the game by offering the most dynamic fantasy sports platform available today. You can play in pick'em contests versus other people for a shot at winning $250,000 in cash. Yes. Download the app, choose a contest, select your player props, earn points for corrected picks, and climb the leaderboard for your shot to win big money every single day. You can also test your skills versus the house at 20 times your entry if you hit all your picks. So bet on up to 5 player props. Select the over-unders based on individual player matchups across every major sport you can think of: NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, MMA, and NASCAR. Sign up now with the promo code SGPN at nohouseadvantage.com or download the app to get the first deposit match up to $25. Make sure you check out No House Advantage today and experience daily fantasy sports redefined, because it's not just how you play, but also where you play. And you don't want to miss out on this. We're also brought to you by PromoGuide.us. Yes. PromoGuide.us is the best place to go if you're interested in plus EV betting strategies and making consistent profits from sports betting. Honestly, they have all these mathematical models that are just fantastic. All right. I mean, there's so much stuff you can get from this. I gotta say, we've been looking at their daily promo updates, and they have some of the most informative, I would say, in the game. At their daily, you just got to check it out. They don't simply tell you, what team is probable to win, so to speak, but they will tell you where to get the best odds, how to track down and cash in big and on consistently changing promotions. Essentially, if you're not already using mathematical models to help you with your picks, you are really missing out on an insanely valuable tool. And the best part of it all is that Promo Guy is run by a small team of passionate sports fans dedicated to building a well-informed, better betting community. So go to promoguide.us and check out their 100% tracked, transparent, and proven method for betting smarter. Once again, promoguide.us. You get consistently and consistency gives you profit. Yes, we're also brought to you by Sleeper. Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy platform today with millions of players. You probably already have a league on there. I know I do. It is a game-changing product unlike anything else in the industry. And now you can win on Sleeper by playing their brand new over-under game, which is absolutely awesome. You select 2 or more players based on their stat projection. You bet on the over or the under, and you can win anywhere from 2 times to 20 times the amount of money you put in. I was on the over on Sam Hartman, over 275 yards at Vanderbilt last week. So that thing hit, and I had a couple other, it has to be more than 1, or it has to be 2 or more. So I had a good weekend with that, but yeah, right now on your mobile phone, join our listener group on Sleeper at sleeper.com/SGP, and Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. Once again, that's promo code SGP, sleeper.com/SGP, and you get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. All right, we're back, and look, this is one of the hardest things as a diehard college basketball fan and college football, because this fits both sports, I would say, but especially basketball, with only a limited roster. When you get like a team full of transfers, USC and football, it's hard. I mean, it was hard to forecast, but I thought, okay, I can kind of get this. Football, I think, is a little easier. Basketball, when you get a couple of years ago, it was at Oregon State. I feel like 13 of the 15-man roster were transfers. Very hard to imagine how the team will play, especially if they're JUCO transfers and you're struggling to find tape on the guys. let's get to the incoming roster and who is and what I will project the starting five after that. But first off, a couple big recruits, two top 200 recruits in 6'9" forward Zach Keller. He's the 126th ranked recruit out of Colorado as well. So going into the state of Colorado, he's from Littleton. Also 6'9" forward Bobby Clintman from Wichita, Kansas. Forbes used to coach at Wichita State, so I would imagine maybe some ties to the high school coaching ranks outside of Wichita or in Wichita. And then they were active in the transfer portal, going out and getting some key pieces. And I'm very curious to see if this will work out. Obviously, the big one, Tyree Appleby coming in from the Florida Gators, where he averaged 11 points and 4 assists. That's a huge get. That kind of reminds me of the Alondes Williams get. That was a big time get. Also got Davion Bradford, a 7-foot center from Kansas State. Obviously the Kansas State situation with them switching over to a brand new coach. He jumped down to head to Winston-Salem. He only averaged 3 points and two boards a year ago, but I'm imagining that role and his minutes will drastically go up, knowing that the Demon Deacons lost a lot of height from a season ago. Also 6'9" forward Andrew Carr from Delaware. And look, Delaware made the NCAA tournament, lost to Nova in the first round, had a great run in the CAA. This is an interesting get because he averaged 10 points, 5 boards with the Blue Hens. Maybe that's one that he can continue to develop under Steve Forbes and could perhaps surprise. Also got guard Jao Ituka from Marist, Rick Smith's alma mater. 15 points, 3 boards up there at Marist, but it's hard to forecast how that will transition to ACC play. So that will be a bit interesting. But overall, considering I would say they won the portal, considering they only lost Carter Witt to Furman, but they did. I mean, getting those 4 guys, yes, they won the portal, but overall, replacing what they had last year, I think it's hard to forecast them being a better team than what they had last year. Considering I know that they've been recruiting better since he got there, but losing some of those key pieces, 2 NBA players, 4 guys in double digits, and a role player in Khadim Sy, that will be interesting. Only time will tell. So my projected starting 5 would be Appleby at the 1. They do return Davian Williamson, who averaged 12 points per game. He shot 40% from 3. And if he continues to grow, that's something to really get excited about. I also think if you watch some games last year with them, Demaria Monsanto could really be a key player. He averaged 7 points a season ago as things fall down here. 40% from 3 as well. If those 3 can shell out the way we think they can, I think, the guard play might actually be better than a season ago. Now the bigs, that's the big question mark. And I think that's what Steve Forbes is going to have to struggle with the most. Andrew Carr, Davion Bradford, I think are the projected 4 and 5 on this team. How fast can they adjust to ACC play? As we know, Duke's got this unbelievable recruiting class coming in. North Carolina, Baycott is back. They lose Manic, but I mean, still bringing in Pete Nance. Even Virginia bringing back a ton. Where will the pecking order be for Wake Forest, and especially on the front court side of things? Let's get to the schedule here. But before I get to the schedule, I got to get us paid just one more time. I'm sorry. I know it's a lot of ads. Bear with us here on the College Basketball Experience. The Wake Forest 2022-23 season preview episodes brought to you by Run Your Pool. Yes. Run Your Pool is awesome. It is a fantastic thing. And right now, Run Your Pool has VIP access going. Yes. A brand new subscription service from Run Your Pool that helps you get an extra edge against the books, plus exclusive access to real money pools. Entry to our exclusive week 1 and week 2 pools with guaranteed $5,000 payouts, as well as our season long pool with a guaranteed $100,000 payout. Get access to exclusive data to help you with your weekly game picks, premium content like in-depth guides for how to dominate your pools and exclusive swag. You got to go VIP here. It's top of the line if you're a serious sports fan. Use the promo code SGPN VIP at runyourpool.com/VIP. And you get 50% off your first month. Once again, Run Your Pool VIP. That's code SGPN VIP at runyourpool.com/VIP. We're also brought to you by OddsTrader. OddsTrader is a place to compare odds from all the major sports books. You can also compare the different sign-up codes and promo codes from sportsbook to sportsbook to assure that you get the best deal possible for yourself. The app also provides key player stats, key game stats, injury reports, projected game day weather. If you're betting on football or perhaps even baseball, it also has a bet tracker so bettors can keep records of all your games and betting activity, which I love. So check out oddstrader.com/Blue Wire. That's OddsTrader, the #1 site for all your game day bets. All right, back talking Demon Deacon basketball. Let's take a look at the schedule because I think that's one of the big things that burned them last year, and some of it is luck. Always. There's a certain amount of that. Like who could have forecasted a few years ago that Kentucky would be that bad? You think you have Kentucky on the schedule, saying, "Oh, I got a great matchup against one of the most winningest programs in the history of college basketball." Same can be said for, I guess, one of the Steve Alford UCLA teams. Sometimes they just have a down year, and you're stuck with that. I'm not saying that's what necessarily happened last year, but when you pull back the curtain on this year, you can say, "Oh, that seems like a big game." We'll see. But if you schedule enough tough opponents, the odds are that you'll be able to have enough with your ACC schedule to get yourself into the dance if you have a winning record like they had a season ago. They are good. First off, they're in a preseason tournament, the Jamaica Classic, November 18th and 20th, which is in Montego Bay, Jamaica. I will be certainly watching that one. They open up with LaSalle in that one, and they will also get the winner. Well, assuming they beat LaSalle, which who knows, Fran Dunphy is now at LaSalle. Can't wait to see what he can do there with the Explorers. But they're going to get the winner of, if they win, they will get the winner of Georgetown Loyola Marymount. If they lose, they will get the loser of Georgetown Loyola Marymount. I think there's a decent shot that they win this thing. Obviously, Patrick Ewing and Georgetown, pivotal year. They did not fire Patrick Ewing, so he's back, and I thought he did some great things in the transfer portal, also on the recruiting front. So I do think Georgetown will be in that mix, but that could potentially be a gigantic win for Wake Forest if they are to get a win against Georgetown. So they open up the season November 7th against Fairfield. That should be fine. I think they'll win there. Then on November 11th, they get the Georgia Bulldogs. Now Georgia. This is one of those ones where I feel like they can't afford to lose a game. And Mike White, new head coach down there in Athens. I think Wake Forest should take care of business here, but don't lose to Georgia because I do think Georgia has been kind of the doormat of the SEC. That would be a bad loss potentially. But I think they'll be 2-0. They also get Utah Valley at home in Winston-Salem. That is the initial key game for the Jamaica Classic, like leading up to it. Utah Valley was good a season ago. They lost their big man though to Texas Tech. That's going to be a tough loss. We'll see how they replace, but they've been a solid mid-major program there. I believe Mark Madsen is the head coach there with Utah Valley. They should be 3-0 going into the Jamaica Classic. I mean, really, they should be at least 4-1 or 5-0 after the Jamaica Classic. Then they get South Carolina State on November 23rd. Then they have Hampton on November 26th. So still, the schedule's not like out of all those teams. You better hope Utah Valley has another good season, which I think is somewhat likable or somewhat probable, I should have said. Georgetown, they need to win. I think Georgetown can be really good this year. When I say really good, I mean like a winning team in the NCAA tournament. However, that team has to mesh together as one, and they have to do it fast because last year they were terrible and they went out and they brought in everybody. We'll get to the Georgetown preview in a couple of weeks here, but definitely check that out. So the month of November, they're not tested much. I would say, on November 29th, they do hit the road to take on Wisconsin in Madison. ACC Big Ten Challenge. That game's going to be huge. I think if you're trying to earn wins, I think Wisconsin is a NCAA tournament team. So I think if you are a Wake Forest fan, you're probably circling that November 11th matchup against Georgia. I guess you would even circle the Utah Valley matchup on November 15th. But then after that, I think the potential Georgetown matchup. How fast will LaSalle be? I mean, I think Dunphy will make LaSalle decent in time. It's year one. Can't afford any blunders to these teams. And then obviously the Wisconsin game. You win the Wisconsin game, that could really pay off. If you beat Georgetown and Wisconsin, I think those could be 2 wins against tournament teams. So I can't emphasize enough how big those games are for Wake Forest. Let's jump into December because December they get a neutral site game against LSU. LSU, Matt McMahon, new head coach. I think they're a kind of a mystery team. I think their ceiling is NCAA tournament. But also I think percentage wise, if I had to guess, I would say they'd be fringe. I'd probably lean to no, they're not going to make the tournament in year one, but someone's got to win those games in the SEC between a lot of new faces that are there. So you can't rule that out. That means that would be a huge game for Wake Forest. That's in Atlanta, Georgia, part of the holiday hoops giving on December 10th. Can they get that dub there? Huge. They also get Appalachian State on December 14th. Now that is an interesting matchup. App State made the tournament 2 years ago. Last year they lost despite having a good record within Sun Belt play. That's a big game. Obviously a little brother there. So can they take care of Appalachian State? That should be interesting to see December 14th. And then December 17th, they play on the road again at another Big Ten school, and they head up to the Rutgers Scarlet Knights in Piscataway. Ron Harper Jr. is gone. Can they get that win? I don't know. I mean, I kind of like them if I had to favor them. If I had to tell you the truth on what I think the Georgetown game, if they get Georgetown, once again, you should be rooting for that if you're a Wake Forest fan. It's kind of a 50-50 game. The Wisconsin game, I expect them to be dogs in. The Rutgers game, I could see a situation where they're favored in Piscataway there to take care of business, and really favored in every other game. The LSU game is interesting. I think LSU could be a short favorite, but I feel like really depends on how fast they're bringing in everybody. So it's hard to forecast if that team's going to be an NCAA tournament team or not. Much like with Wake. That's the out of conference schedule. Now in conference just came out while I was in Vegas this past weekend, and they open up the season, by the way. So their December schedule. I really think when I look at November, if we were to go month by month here, obviously injuries could play a role and all this could change, but in the month of November, I think they should be a 1-loss team. I think if you're a Wake Forest fan, undefeated or 1 loss, that's what your goal should be. In December, though, if we line this up with the conference schedule, Friday, December 2nd, they're at Clemson. That should be a winnable game. Home to Duke on December 20th, and then home to Virginia Tech. That's your month of December in conference. I think getting away Virginia Tech at home on New Year's Eve, huge game. I kind of think they're ahead of Virginia Tech, and I think they're ahead of Clemson. So they should go 2-1. Duke's an incredibly young team. Maybe you can pull off some magic, beat Duke on Tuesday, December 20th. And then you'll be heading into Christmas feeling pretty good about your team. I think I would say in the month of December, the Duke and LSU games, absolutely gigantic. January is going to be rough though, because January you got road games at North Carolina, at Louisville. Just those are your first 2 games. Then home to Florida State, who I think will be reloaded and better than they were a season ago. Then they head up to Chestnut Hill, which I feel like Wake's better, but I do think BC's improving. Home to Clemson, home to Virginia, at Pitt, then home to NC State and at Duke. That's going to be your toughest month of the season, if you ask me. It is the month of January. February, sure, you're home to. You start out at Notre Dame in February, then home to North Carolina, home to Georgia Tech, at Miami, at NC State, home to Notre Dame, home to BC, and at Syracuse. Now, obviously, it's almost a fact. I feel like if you're playing better ball at the end of the year, you're more likely to get in to the NCAA tournament. So you could say, well, February is the most important month for any team. I really believe, though, for the resume, the month of January is the month for must-watch basketball with the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. I think this team is a team that could make the NCAA tournament, but they gotta capitalize. And I feel like a broken record. If you listen to some of our other ACC preview pods, it's pretty simple to me. North Carolina is the team to beat in the ACC, flat out, plain and simple. After that, I think there's a tier of Tony Bennett and the Virginia Cavaliers, the Duke Blue Devils with John Shire, year one, incredibly young. And then I think there's a little bit of a drop off, and then it goes to an area where I see the Florida State Seminoles and the Miami Hurricane and the Louisville Cardinal. And I actually have Wake probably as the next team there, but that's what I mean is they got to get these wins against their conference teams that are on the same level or below them. They better make sure they're beating Clemson in that season opener on December 2nd. They better make sure they're taking care of beating Pitt, beating Boston College, beating Georgia Tech, NC State. I mean, the NC State's kind of in the same group as Wake. I give a slight edge to Wake, but I mean, they got to win those games, and I think those are going to tell the tale of their season. Actually, and I forgot to mention Notre Dame. Notre Dame's on a tier above to me on what they return. So my apologies to Mike Bray and the Fighting Irish. Do I think they can make the NCAA tournament? I do. Do I think this schedule from a season ago is more aggressive? I do. I think that you want to hope that they play Georgetown, make sure that thing happens. But yes, I think it is a harder schedule. I think Wisconsin's a tournament team. I think Georgetown could be a tournament team, LSU as well. And I think the ACC is a stronger and deeper conference from a season ago, despite Duke losing all those players. I do think the conference is harder. So I think if they can sniff what their record was, from a season ago, I think they'll be an NCAA tournament team. Now, how far can they go? That remains to be seen. If I had to bet, which is what we do here, which I don't have any odds right now, I would say they would be a bubble team on the bubble, potentially in the NCAA tournament, maybe in the first four, like Danny Manning had him to. I think the trajectory is going well for Steve Forbes. I got to see it pay off though. And losing those players they lost, I would kind of lean towards not making the NCAA tournament, but I do think there's a lot of opportunity for them to make the NCAA tournament. We'll have to see. They're kind of a must-watch team for me night in, night out. I'm a big fan of Steve Forbes, back to his East Tennessee State days. Loved watching him play there, folks. At the end of the day, I'm going to say they narrowly missed the NCAA tournament, but I'm rooting for them too. I want to see them back. I want Wake Forest basketball good again. All right, folks, subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. Also, remember, subscribe to the College Football Experience. We're always talking Wake Forest over there. Dave Clawson, fantastic, absolutely fantastic coach. Love Wake Forest football as well. Subscribe to both those. We come together as one on YouTube at youtube.com/the College Experience. Subscribe, tell a friend. And excited to break down more of these teams. And as the season heats up, when it tips off, November 7th, as Fairfield comes to Winston-Salem, cannot wait for college hoops, and excited to see what they do on the football field as well. Folks, subscribe, check out the Sports Gambling Podcast as well. Maybe you're a Carolina Panther fan, maybe you're a Washington Redskin fan. We'll go check it out. They cover the NFL, they cover anything, really all sports. Check out Sports Gambling Podcast. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Get that SGPN app for free in the App Store and Google Play Store. And one of my favorite things to recommend is the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Come in there and chat it up with us. Well, no matter what your sport is, if you want to talk Wake Forest basketball, you hop in. We have a college basketball channel inside of that, in our Discord channel, where you can talk hoops with us. We're always talking hoops. Maybe it's NBA that's your cup of tea. Hop in there. Maybe it's college football. Maybe you want to talk Sam Hartman and Clawson. Can we win the ACC? Last year we got to the ACC championship. There's an avenue for you there. Really anything you could think of sports wise is in there. Shit, even outside of sports, there's some stuff in there too, like movies and music and shit. But anyway, check it all out. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. I think you'll dig it. And yeah, folks, give me a follow on Twitter at @TheColbyD. The college basketball experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. And I'd really appreciate it if you got out and gave us a 5-star review on iTunes, because we try to give us our best. I know it's a lot of ads, but we handicap every single Division I college football and college basketball game. We've been doing this for over 5 years. When the college basketball season tips, I'll be bringing you college basketball episodes every single day of the season, like I did a season ago. So check us out. And yeah, appreciate you. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes if you can. Thank you. This is the college basketball experience, Wake Forest Demon Deacon style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
What the fuck did I do wrong?
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, talented pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're gonna pay for it tonight.
When we were winning conference titles and going to the Final Four, we were making a statement. It's easy to see a tide turn.
Nothing is over! Nothing! You just don't turn it off!
Coaching, our coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked in that second half.
They're begging us. Please have a party. Feed us drinks. Get us laid.